Welcome to the Growth Beyond Limits podcast, a dynamic podcast designed for aspiring entrepreneurs and early stage business owners aiming to reach their first million. Each episode features high impact conversations with business leaders, innovators, and personal development experts who share actionable insights to fuel both professional and personal growth. Growth beyond limits. Go where you need to be. Hey, welcome to another great episode of Growth Beyond Limits podcast. This is a podcast designed for entrepreneurs and those of you who are looking to grow in your business, where we invite thought leaders, high impact conversation business leaders, entrepreneurs, people that can really help reposition you for maximum growth. On this podcast, we are all about helping you make those steps to your first million or your first 5 million. And today I have the esteemed pleasure of having one of the most inspiring stories that I've heard in my entire time on this earth. This woman I'm going to introduce to you is a dynamic leader, just a go-getter, a success story. And today we're going to be talking about how do you turn pain into profit. And I want to welcome to our podcast, to our audience, Miss Dee Dominique, who is, she's going to tell you who she is in a little bit, but I just have some tremendous amount of respect just for her grind and her ability to do things that really hasn't been done by a lot of people that look like us. So, Dee, welcome to the Growth Beyond Limits podcast, and thank you for joining us with our audience today.
Thank you so much, Dr. Phil. It's such an honor to be here with you today. So I am so excited to be here, and it's such an honor as well.
All right, so tell our audience a little bit of who about this person. Who is this dynamic leader that we've invited, this entrepreneur? Tell us a little bit about who you are. Just give us a little insight into who this person is.
Well, let me just make a long story short. My name is Dee Dominique. I am the owner of Loving Hands and Heart Child Development Center, as well as the owner of D'Angelo Investment Group. I wear so many different hats, Dr. Phil, but most of all, I'm an entrepreneur and a go-getter as well.
Awesome. So you heard she said she wears many hats, but one head. So, and I know most entrepreneurs understand that. So in order to make money, you have to have multiple streams of income. You got to be able to diversify what you do, and that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about what does it look like to go from a particular area in your life and to get to where you are. So I want you to think with me for a minute, those of you watching this podcast. Imagine going to bed and not knowing if the lights are going to be on, right? Imagine watching your parents have to decide between rent and food. Now, think about that, and now imagine building a company that's worth millions of dollars, thousands of dollars, and that you didn't inherit opportunity, you engineered it. And so that's what I think this conversation is going to be. How do you engineer opportunity when it's not handed to you? And we're going to talk about what it means to overcome tough beginnings, what it means to overcome challenges, what it means to overcome family. Because the truth of the matter is, everyone who's watching this podcast or listening to this podcast, you have had to overcome something to get to where you are. I know there are few, that 1% of people who just walk into prosperity, walk into opportunity where it's handed to them. But for the most of us, we've had to engineer it. So we're going to talk about how do you engineer your success? How do you engineer your growth? And that's exactly what I think Dee has done, her and her family, her and husband, who is another, just a killer. We call him the silent millionaire. We'll talk about that. That's an inside joke, by the way. So, Dee, tell me, what did poverty look like for you growing up in that little rural Florida town? What did that look like for you?
Well, first of all, I would like to let the viewers know that I am from Belle Glade, Florida, which is...
You're proud of that, aren't you?
I am so proud coming from the Muck City. It's a small area. It's almost like a transitional as well, where many people, when they come in from Haiti, that's almost like their stopping place before they move.
Just Haiti or other nationalities?
Majority of is Haiti,
Okay.
and there's some African Americans that have grown there, but majority of the people are Haiti descended that normally kind of transition before they move over to other things in life.
Okay.
So a lot of time, in life, we don't know that we're in poverty until we're out of it and kind of looking back at it. So
Wait. We don't know we're in poverty until we move out of it.
until we move
Break
out
that
of
down.
it.
Break that down.
Because a lot of time, everyone within the community kind of looks the same. Our parents are doing the same type of work. We're living under the same housing conditions. So it doesn't seem, it's our normal.
Right.
But when you move out of it and you look back, you realize it's not the normal.
Oh my gosh.
I remember growing up, number 19 in a building they call Royal Building.
Okay.
And it was nothing royal about the building that we lived in.
Just the name.
It's just the name. And then in the Haitian community, they call it Bidin Criminel.
Okay.
Basically means where the criminal stays.
Right.
So living in that environment in a 1-bedroom apartment, sharing it with 7 people.
How many people?
7.
Where'd you guys sleep?
It was kind of weird because I remember it was the kitchen, the living room was kind of combined, and there was one room. Actually, it was 2-bedroom.
Okay.
So it was one room in the middle, and then my parents had the room in the back.
Right.
So all 5 of the kids stayed in the first room, and my mom and dad had their own room.
And they didn't have air mattress back then, right?
It wasn't air
so
mattress.
how'd y'all sleep?
I don't remember. I would say it was at least 2 beds that was shared between the 5 of us.
So 2.5 people on one bed?
I guess so. It's just so weird. Like I said, and it was a 1-bedroom, 1 bath as well.
Yeah.
So we all 7 of us would share that 1 bathroom. And I remember a lot of time our parents would leave early in the morning because they would do field work, which would require them to leave about 4:30 in the morning.
Okay.
To be able to make it in time to work. And it was just, even though we didn't have everything that we would like, but we also had the basic need that we needed in life to be able to survive. Though we were in poverty, my mom made sure we always had food in our belly as well as clean clothes on our back.
Wow.
But like I mentioned, until you're out of it, you don't really know. You don't know.
So one of the things that people need to understand is there are moments. Life is a collection of moments, right? And so if you can manage a moment, you can get to the next step. A lot of people don't end up reaching their full potential because they mismanage a moment. Mm-hmm. And every entrepreneur that I know who has experienced success or has experienced some type of level of awesomeness have had a moment where things shifted. What was that moment like for you, and what still drives you today? So what was the moment when you know your life was about to shift from that 1-bedroom apartment between 7 siblings? What was that moment like for you? How did you know you were about to go to a whole nother level?
I would say the moment is when I moved out of Belglade and I moved to West Palm, and I realized there is more to life. Okay. But to be able to attain it, I had to push myself and be determined to get what needed to be done. Mm-hmm. I remember moving to Fort Myers. I began to work. First of all, my husband wanted me to be a stay-at-home mom. Okay. Until the finances really kicked in, and he realized, hey, maybe you can do a part-time job. So I did a part-time job. I started working in childcare, and it was just a drive within me just to get more. I started off as an office assistant, and over the years, I increased my education. I received some certification just to be able to do more within the field that I felt that I was called to at the time. So, and I remember sitting there and having the feeling of not being micromanaged. Right. Because I had a vision and I know how to get the job done, but I didn't like that overhead telling me what to do, how to do it. It was almost, I was the face of the company, but my brain wasn't being used at the same time. Right. And it was a shift that, hey, if I can do this for that company, I can do it on my own as well. And that's when I realized, hey, I have to move.
So your moment came as an employee, but you understood there was more to you than what you were actually doing. And I think a lot of times people have to realize your moment will come when you have that self-awareness that I'm here to survive, but this is not going to take me to success if I don't shift my mindset. Yes. So talk to us about feeling limited, but knowing you were motivated to do more. What was that season like where you were limited by a job, but motivated by a dream?
So during that season, I found myself being frustrated a lot of time because I have a voice, but my voice wasn't being used to my full potential. So it took me to be able to step out despite what others may think about me. Keep in mind, I had a salary position.
Right.
So whether I worked the full day, I was still getting compensated for the
Right.
whole entire day. So being able to realize, you know what, even though I'm comfortable where I'm at, but my emotion and being frustrated, I'm not in a healthy environment. So I had to make that switch to be able to realize, hey, I have to step out. And that's exactly what I did.
That's so good. That's so good. I think a lot of times we have to develop a different mindset, right? So go from that scarcity mindset to that hunger mindset. And a lot of people, unfortunately, remain too long. They overstay their passage in the scarcity mindset, meaning that I need this paycheck to make ends meet for the next 2 weeks. So I'm going to put my dreams on hold. And a lot of times people are paying you to suffocate your dream. People are paying you to hold back on what you know you could do. And frustration really is an indication. Let me say it again. Frustration is an indication that there's more inside of me. So if you're watching this podcast or you're listening to this wherever you access this podcast and you have frustration, it's usually the engine light going off saying something more is inside of you. So let's talk about this inflection point, right? Who was the first person who believed in you besides yourself?
I would say my husband. And not only my husband, my family as well.
Okay.
And I remember trying to find work for my mom. She had lost her job, and I was communicating with employers on the East Coast, trying to see if I can get her a job on the East Coast. And when I realized it wasn't working out because of her age, I asked my mom, I said, hey, Mom, I am going to start a preschool. I don't have the funds at the moment to pay you now, but if you can believe in the vision that I have.
Wow.
That I would be able to pay you once things start kicking off. So my mom and my sister moved over from the East Coast to the West Coast to be able to help me with this vision as well.
So your family were the first people, they were your capital.
Yes.
So you sold them a dream, you sold them a vision, and they decided to embark on it.
Yes.
What did that feel like, having someone believe in you? Because a lot of times we just need that one person that says, I'll take a chance on you. I'll take a risk with you. What was it like? What was the feeling like knowing that you had what I call that human capital emotionally?
I would say at the time it was a little confusing because even though I had a group of people that believed in me, the people that didn't believe me was more than those more than those that did believe in me.
Okay.
So what it took, I had to keep in mind of my vision to be able to block out the noise and the sound that people were making around me that didn't quite believe in me. First of all, they was questioning, are you sure you want to leave a salary position for the unknown?
Right.
Are you sure about the location? And at this time, no one really, because it's very hard when no one in your circle is doing what you're doing. Back in 2012, what we know entrepreneur is now is not what it was back then in my circle, at least.
Right.
So there was no one really around me that I can look up to and say, okay, if they can do it, I can do it as well. It was almost like I was the first one to make that step towards entrepreneur. So that way I can be able to lead the other ones as well.
So we talk about vision, we talk about belief. Now I want to talk a little bit about boldness. Because one of the things that it takes for anybody to be successful as an entrepreneur is to be bold, to make that first move, because you cannot get to second base if you're not willing to take your foot off of first base, and you got to have audacity. I think about the late Kobe Bryant, who wanted to take the last shot. I think about a guy like Steph Curry, who wants the ball in his hand. I think about Michael Jordan, who, you know, he went out to dinner with you, but he would cut your throat out the next night on the basketball court. What was the first bold move that you made that told you that you were onto something? The
first
bold
bold
move.
move, I would say, was to know exactly what I wanted to do in life and take that first step. And that was like finding a building for this school.
Okay.
I would say the second bold move, because even though I made that first bold move of looking for a place, and once it was approved, it was to turn in my letter letting my boss know that I would no longer work for the company, which was heavy because I'm going into the unknown. And even my boss, I remember her saying, "Are you sure this is something that you would want to do?"
Right.
Because many others would love to have your position. I know many others would love to have my position, but this position was no longer for me.
Right.
So I had to have the mentality that it's okay to be able to take that leap of faith and start my business.
So boldness doesn't always come with clarity, but boldness illustrates clarity.
Yes.
And so what I'm trying to say is, when you're taking a bold move, you don't have all the pieces in place. You just know that you are not in the right place.
Yes.
And so you got to be bold enough to say, I'm going to bet on myself. I'm going to take a chance. Now, that's good hearing this on this podcast. But what does it feel like to try to build something without a safety net? Because it didn't sound like you had great funding, didn't sound like you had investors. You just had the audacity and the courage to say, I'm going to start my own child care center.
Yeah.
What did that look like?
Man.
Building without a safety net.
Listen. Not only did I did not have a safety net, I felt like I didn't have a net at all.
Let alone a safety net, right?
Let alone a safety net. It was almost living on pure faith. I remember at the time our saving. I kind of used up all our saving at the time, and then one thing I've noticed is was it like
$500,000?
No,
a million. When you talk about savings,
Dr. Phil,
when you
I'm
talk about
talking
savings,
about tax return saving.
so we're talking about what, $7,000,
I'm talking
$8,000?
about maybe $7,000 to $8,000 at the time.
So, because when people hear $7,000, well, you had $250K or you had $500K, so you talking about $7,000?
I'm talking about $7,000.
And you're gonna start a whole business
and I'm gonna
with
start a
$7,000.
whole business with $7,000. And I know it sounds
Girl,
crazy.
you bold.
I know it sounds crazy, but at the time, I had a drive within me.
Come on.
So I used what I had, and I was also fortunate enough to have money into my 401k.
Okay.
That at the time, the company that I worked with matched 100%.
Right.
So whenever I would put in, they would match it at 100%. And I was like, well, I can use my 401k. And that's what I pulled out to be able to fund.
So you
school.
funded your first venture with your own money.
Yes.
And then risking your retirement fund.
Exactly.
Because you believe in it. Sometimes, if you believe in something deep enough, strong enough, you got to put dollars next to it.
Exactly.
You got to put money next to it. But in addition to money, because money is one thing, but then there's the element we call sacrifice. Like, you got to give up something, right? Like, for me, to build some of the things that I've built, I've had to sacrifice time with family. I've had to sacrifice the opportunity to be somebody's employee. I've had to sacrifice many nights. I've had to travel around the country, around the world, building. So what does sacrifice look like for you? Look at where you came from to where you are today. What sacrifices you had to make?
I would say the main sacrifice I made was with my time.
Okay.
I didn't have time to accept every invitation because I was working. There was one time I was working from 6:30 a.m. to whenever the center closed and stay afterwards to be able to do whatever.
So you putting in time.
I put in time.
Okay, and you weren't getting paid, by the way.
I
I
was not
because
getting.
when you start a business, you don't get paid. You got to make the payroll, but you're not
I,
on the payroll.
Listen, I was not getting paid. Not only that, I sacrificed my voice because talking all day, end up not having a voice by the end of the day.
My goodness.
And not only I did this, a lot of time when you think about 12-hour shift, most likely it's only in 3 days. I was doing this for 5 days a week straight. But I knew the reward would come afterwards. So whatever I needed to do at the moment, that's what I did. I sacrificed time with my family. My husband joined me on staff as well, just to be able to be around me. But the kids also.
Was he paid staff or non-paid staff?
Dr. Phil, we were not paid. And not only we sacrificed our money as well. There's time where whatever that I was getting coming in, I would have to use that to pay my mom or my sister. And I'm not talking about full salary. It was just enough. It was just enough for them to put gas or to pay their electric, so their electric bills. So it was those type of things that it required for me to put on hold and even sacrifice my own bills to be able to make sure those, when I started to have employees, that the employees were being taken care of, and my life was kind of on pause.
That's crazy. So we talk about the whole idea of sacrifice. Now, let's talk about the one thing that every entrepreneur has to deal with, regardless of where you are. It's the idea of fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of scaling, fear of hiring your first employee, fear of now you have W-2 and you got to report on your 941. So fear is something that reminds us that we're on to something, but also reminds us that there's an imminent threat lurking. How did you overcome fear, or how did fear almost stop you? How'd you deal with fear?
I think because of my drive, I've never allowed fear to stop me in life. Because I realize fear is almost paralyzing you. Because if you're afraid, you won't ever make that move.
Right.
So without making the move, the risk of you not moving outweighs the success that you can have in life.
Come on.
So I had to, not really at the time, because my drive was so strong, I don't think I ever allowed fear to stop me from making any moves in life. I kind of just took that faith and did what needed to be done at the time.
Do you think growing up in Belgrade, I mean, you had nothing to lose, right? Because, I mean, you were around poverty, you were around, they called it the crime building. So do you think that shaped you as an entrepreneur, your surrounding, your environment, that shaped you to not give fear the opportunity to govern how you're going to operate?
Absolutely. One thing I've noticed as well in life, Dr. Phil, is that coming out of Belgrade and seeing what we had at the time, anything better than what I had was an opportunity for success. So when I tell you I pushed myself, and looking back at my mom, just working in the fields, the sun would rise on their back and set as well.
Jeez.
So if my mom had the drive and did not allow fear to push her in life, I have no excuse not to go and get what I need to get during the seasons in my life.
So the example of your mom. By the way, for those of you around the country, around the world watching this podcast, and you're wondering where in the world is Belgrade, just go ahead and Google it, and you'll get a context for where our guest came from. Dee, this is such a riveting story. So talk to us about, how do you build multiple businesses coming from an environment with poverty, having that drive, and now to being the CEO, COO of multiple ventures? What does it look like to not just build one business, but multiple businesses? And you probably in the process of building your next venture, knowing you're always birthing something. So what does that look like?
What it looks like is being successful in one and knowing there's so much more out there to get, and just being able to feed whatever I'm interested in the time. I went from childcare to real estate to flipping properties. It's just...
Yeah, because you and your husband are pretty aggressive when it comes to...
Yes, we are very aggressive when it comes to flipping.
Okay. And you actually do some of the work by yourself, right? I've seen you with a hard hat on. And...
Yes, we actually do a lot of the work ourselves. Okay. Which is also so much fun.
So wait a minute, what they're seeing right now with, your makeup is on point and everything, that's just you for the set. But they need to see you with the sweat, with the hammer.
With the dust, the drywall, I'm not like this all the time.
You're not a pretty girl, right?
Listen, I am not like this all the time. I don't look like this Monday through Friday.
Okay.
It all depends on the hat that I'm wearing for that day.
So
there's time where I physically have to go in and do labor work.
To get those properties flipped.
Those properties flipped at a time manner, yes.
That's so good. So for those of you that think you're just going to run into success, you're just going to wave the magic wand and it's going to happen. No, there are nights that you got to stay up till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, caulking the bathroom if you're doing flipping properties. Success is never pretty. And what you want to celebrate in public, you got to build in private. And you got to have that grind. You got to have that go-get-it attitude, whatever it takes. And you talk a lot about your husband. And in one of the episodes, we're going to talk about what does it mean to work together as a couple, to grind together. Dee, real quickly, let's talk about wealth. Because you grew up without wealth. And now the Lord has positioned you, or your faith or whatever your belief has positioned you, to have a relationship with wealth. Mm-hmm. Talk to the audience right now who's struggling with maybe $18 in their checking account, or maybe their account is overdraft. Or talk to that person who has $50,000 and they're saying, how do I make this work? How do I multiply? How were you able to develop a relationship with wealth? Notice I didn't say gain wealth. I said develop a relationship with it.
I would say the way that I develop a relationship with wealth is to manage what I have. So what that looks like, hey, I may not have a lot in the bank, but what I have, how can I use it to make it multiply? But to make it multiply, I have to be steward of what I have.
Right.
So for instance, if I don't have a lot in the bank,
right,
I can't go out and splurge
right.
on something that I don't
right.
have. So when I do have it, it's not to splurge it, it's how to make it make money for
right.
me. And my husband has this saying is, how do I make money make money?
Right.
That's his mentality.
Right.
How can I make what I have make money for me and not the money making for me? Because there's a difference when you're allowing the money to make you instead of you making the money.
Right.
So that what that looks like for me, Dr. Phil, is to be able to look at what I have. What can I invest in to bring a profit back to me?
That's so good.
And when we do have profits, we don't splurge it on ourselves. We reinvest. And that's how we get what we have now, is the reinvestment mindset that my husband and I have.
That's so good. That's so good. I often talk about the 3 M's that successful people need to have in their life, which is how to make money, manage money, and multiply money. How to make money, manage money, and multiply money. Those are 3 things that you're going to have to do if you want to have a relationship with money. Your job or your business will help you make money, but your vision will help you manage the money, and your drive will help you multiply it. And a lot of people know how to make money, or they work hard to make money, but then they don't get to the multiplication phase because they fail at the management phase. And I can talk about this because I haven't made a lot of money, but I've made a lot of money in business ventures, and I've lost a lot of money. And the reason why I lost money was because nobody taught me how to manage money. I used to do real estate. I used to, do insurance. I was always an entrepreneur. And I remember I would make, pretty good money, and I would just think it's always going to come next week. Yeah. So I would lend money to friends. I would go on nice trips, and not realizing that I was making money, but I wasn't managing money. And the minute I understood the principle of managing money and multiplying money, then my life began to shift. And that's why we could put this podcast, this Growth Beyond Limits podcast, is because we are sharing with you the lessons that we learned from the mistakes that we made. So if you're listening to this or you're watching this, wherever you're watching this around the world, remember those 3 things: how to make money, how to manage money, and how to multiply money. So, Dee, real quickly.
Yes.
You're loaded. You got to come back for another episode. But what advice would you give to someone who is currently in survival mode? What advice would you give them?
I would say if someone is currently in a survival mode, is to find people that can help you during the season that you may find yourself in. What I mean by that is you need to find someone that can birth what you have in you.
So you need a midwife.
You need a midwife. And I find myself being midwife for a lot of people.
Okay.
But
do you charge them for your midwife services?
It all depends.
Remember, you got to make money, manage money, and multiply money.
Yes, it all depends. But I can't birth something out of someone what they don't have. So you have to.
They got to have a uterus.
You have to have it within you before I could tell you to push. And you also have to have the drive in you to push, because you can walk into a hospital pregnant.
Come on.
But it takes for you to push
How many kids you have?
Listen, I have 4 biological children.
Okay, so you're speaking from experience. Okay.
Yes, I'm speaking
I can't relate, but okay, all right.
I'm speaking from experience. If I walk into a hospital to give birth, I have to participate in the process as well. So if you're struggling, you have to be willing to push out whatever you have in you
That's
to
so
make
good.
yourself successful.
That is so good. So you got to do the pushing. I'll do the coaching.
I'll do the coaching.
I'll do the encouraging. I'll tell you how many centimeters you're dilated.
Yep. But I can't
push for you.
I can't
It's
push
not.
for
It's
you.
not my seed.
Yep.
So what Dee is saying is the advice is that you got to become an active participant in the thing that you
Yes.
want to see birth. Don't transfer the weight of your success to somebody else. They're here to help you, not to replace you. And if people don't believe in you, find someone else, because you're going to find someone that actually believes in you. I remember being told in my life that I would never amount to anything.
Wow.
I as a kid growing up, I heard that over and over again. I had family members that didn't believe in me, and they actually behaved that way.
Yeah.
Because when people tell you something, they actually behave that way. But the drive that I had inside of me, that killer instinct, that go-get-it attitude. Listen, I remember growing up on the streets of Miami. I used to catch the bus to school, to the community college. And I remember one day I was going to take my final exam, and it was raining, and I went to the bus stop, and the bus left me. And another bus was not coming for another hour. You know what I did? I walked to school.
Yeah.
I walked 45 minutes to the campus. I got there soaking wet.
Wow.
When I walked in the classroom, the professor looked at me and says, "Class is almost over." And I said, "I had to walk here because I didn't want to miss the exam." And she said, "Because you are determined, I'm going to let you take the exam."
Wow.
And that moment was a turning point for me. When people told me that I couldn't, I found a way.
Wow.
So, Dee, let me ask you this last question. And I want you to think about it before you answer it. What's something about success that most people misunderstand?
Wow.
What is something about success that most people don't get, they misunderstand?
I would say the one thing that people don't
I need you to lean into the mic to say this one, or bring the mic closer because
Listen.
they need to hear this.
I would say one thing that people may not understand about success is that success doesn't happen overnight. And I believe a lot of people give into their vision because they don't see the vision come to completion right off the bat.
Right.
So
especially in today's society,
yes,
where
they
it's
want
instant graphic.
They want everything.
Yeah,
we
instant.
have social media that shows just a clip of success, but it doesn't show them
Reels.
It
They show them real, but they don't show them the real
it
thing.
doesn't show them the process that it takes
Exactly.
to get to that point.
Exactly.
So I would say it takes a lot of patience, and you have to work at it.
Okay.
It's not something that just happens overnight. And don't compare your success to other people as well.
Wow.
So what is success for someone else may not be success for me.
Right.
So it's an individual success that you have to work on. And not only you work on it at one time, it's something that you have to be committed to work on.
You got to put it on repeat.
You got to put it on repeat.
You got to put your drive on repeat.
Yes, you have to put it on repeat, because even when you succeed in this point, there's always a new level of success that requires you to work at it.
Right. So if you're watching this, obviously you are, and you're listening to this, what you're taking away from this is that success requires a companion. You cannot date success and not marry a process.
Yes.
And so if you want to get to the point where you're successful, listen to someone like Dee's story, her and her husband Andy, who was really an example for this generation of how you can go from a small town in Belgrade, Florida, building 19, right? And now you can build businesses that's employing people, and you're making significant impact. And one of the things that you and your husband do, you guys are emerging philanthropists where you help people. And that's something I admire about you guys. And I think that's part of your secret sauce for why you're so blessed, is because you're outward focused. You're not inward focused. And so let's wrap up this episode. Look into the camera and talk to that person right now who is sitting on a dream, but they have a paycheck. And they know that there's more to them. Look at the camera and talk to them and tell them 3 things that they have to do to wake up and move to that next level.
If I were to give 3 advice to someone that may be out there sitting on their dream and not willing to take that risk, the number one thing I would say is to move out on faith first. Not only to move out on faith, but do not allow your fear to paralyze you.
Okay.
Because when your fear paralyzes you, you can go many years thinking about how it could have been if only you took that faith to move forward. Because many times when you think about a paycheck is only to get you by.
Right.
But your dream will make a lifetime impact. So being able to not only to step out, but not only to allow fear to drive you, but the third thing I would say is to be determined. Because when you have determination, there is nothing someone can say to you to take you off course. So I would encourage you to step out, do what you have to do, whatever you have on your heart, and just keep going. No matter if it's negativity, just keep going. No matter what others may say about you, or may even question the decision that you may have make in life, I would encourage you to just go ahead and make it happen. Whether it's your dream, whether it's a vision that you may have, no one can push you to do something that you're not willing to do. So it does require you to participate, and it's time to participate. And there's no better time than now.
That is so good. Listen, I just want to encourage you, wherever you are right now in your journey, you're at the best place.
Yeah.
You can always start from where you are now. Those of us sitting here on this platform, we didn't land here in a helicopter. It was a slow grind, and we're not done because we're still building, we're still scaling. And my goal with this podcast is to be a partner to help you discover that there's so much more inside of you that you haven't even tapped. This is not positive thinking. This is about thinking about what has been deposited in you by your maker. And so if you're building a business right now and you're experiencing frustration, you're experiencing growth pains where you have to work, do most of the work, and you're paying other people and you're not getting paid, hang in there. Yeah. If you realize that I'm not scaling as fast as I need to, just keep at it, because the thing is, success doesn't happen overnight, and success requires a commitment. Remember, it's always commitment over feelings. You might feel overwhelmed, but you're committed to overcoming that. So I want to thank you for being a part of this podcast. Dee, how can people get in touch with you? I know you're an amazing real estate agent. You're an investor. So how can someone get in touch with you if they say, listen, I love what she had to say, I want to connect with her? How can they get in touch with you?
There is multiple ways they can get connected with me. One way is via email, which is deerealtor04@gmail.com.
Realtor, okay, DEE?
Yeah, DEE realtor04@gmail.com. And they also can reach out to me at 561-758-6493.
Y'all heard it right here. So if you need someone to help coach you to get you to the next level, because one of the things we do at the Growth Beyond Limits podcast, we bring on people that we know can help you. And if you need some coaching services, hop on over to our website, levelupoutcomes.com. We have coaches, we have business consultants that can help you from conception to vision to actually bring it to life. And so for more show notes on this show and to get more resources about how you can build a business, there's tons of resources on our website at levelupoutcomes.com. We have downloadable PDFs that can help you build a team, first steps to building a business. So go over to our website, levelupoutcomes.com, or click on the show notes. And we look forward to seeing another episode of Growth Beyond Limits. Thank you for tuning into the Growth Beyond Limits podcast. To follow us for more episodes, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and all social media platforms. Also, to get downloadable PDFs, visit us at levelupoutcomes.com, levelupoutcomes.com. Growth Beyond Limits. Go where you need to be.